All right, well, I'll go ahead and welcome everyone here. This is our communication presentation webinar about Tompkins County Local Redistricting Commission. Thank you all for signing up to come to learn about this. This is every 10 years we do this, and so we want to get some information out there to the public so folks know what this is all about. And we had numerous folks sign up, so as they come in, um, Dominic will let them in, and if you have questions, we will have a question and answer period at the end. So I think you can put those questions in the chat. All right, so welcome, Tompkins County Redistricting Commission. What Tompkins County Legislature is looking for is to set up an independent redistricting commission. This is something that the legislature put together or decided that this would be our process at the previous census 10 years ago. And it is written into our county charter. So we'll be looking for 9 volunteer commissioners to serve on this commission as the census data is released, which I guess it actually was very recently, even though we thought it was going to be later in the year. The commissioners will use this data. They'll work with county staff, administration, IT department to analyze the data and look at the districts within our county to decide where the population has shifted, where things need to, if our lines need to move. And the idea is that folks really are independent. We want this to be a very nonpartisan, bipartisan process where everyone's voices are heard. Application period is open from now until September 15th. Go ahead, Dom. So just a few thoughts about who we're looking for. We want to have as diverse a representation as we can of the people who live in our county. We need folks who are nonpartisan. That doesn't mean that you can't be affiliated with a political party or have strong beliefs one way or the other, but you cannot be an office holder in your political party. So if you're the treasurer of your Democratic committee, you can't participate in this. We do want folks who are as independent as possible, open-minded, willing to look at all the information, look at data. And it's also great if you're interested in data analysis, geography, and obviously equitable representation. Go ahead, Dom. So the task, which is, we're a little bit unsure how long it will take. It really will depend on how often folks on the commission are able to meet, how fast they can work with the county staff. But the idea is that over several months, you'll be looking at this newly released census data, which I don't know what it looks like, but our staff has expertise in this. And then through various processes, you will develop new geographic lines for representation of the legislature, local legislature. You might want to engage with other community members throughout the process, talk to other experts, invite people to present to the group. We'll definitely want to have public forums and engage with the community in a number of ways to hear what the community wants to see happen. And then in the end, the commission will need to produce a final report. The report will go to the Government Operations Committee, which is the committee that's overseeing this process. And the Government Operations Committee will review it and then ultimately send that to the full legislature for approval. Again, folks will be assisted by county staff and would be welcomed to bring in other experts or other research or other information as needed. Go ahead, Dom. So folks who want to apply can, will be using our advisory board application form, which there's a link here, but you can also go to the county website, and you would write in Redistricting Commission as the name of the group that you're interested in joining. You fill out all the information, name, address, contact information, all of that kind of stuff, why you're interested in participating in this commission. And then the way that the process will work, we will get applications through September 15th, as I said, and then the Government Operations Committee of the legislature will be reviewing those applications and holding interviews. Interviews will take place roughly the end of September through October, and the Government Operations Committee will then make some recommendations on who these 9 folks will be, who will serve on the commission, and then forward those recommendations to the full legislature. And the full legislature will need to officially appoint the 9 commissioners. Our goal right now is to have the commission set by the very beginning of December. And then folks can kind of begin to work and figure out schedules and how often they are going to meet. We'll have all the census data well in hand by that point, and the commission can get started from there. And again, we're a little bit unsure what the time frame will be of how long the board will need to work together, but that will have to be determined. And is there more, Dom, or I think that might be the last one?
Yep, that's the last slide that we had.
Okay, great. So that's just really the basic information. We do, let's see, I had a couple other thoughts. Just going back to, we want a very diverse representation. So it's great to see so many folks here that are interested. We do want to keep spreading the word and, get as many applications as possible, so we have, a good group to choose from. So at this point, I'm happy to answer questions if anyone who's attending has questions.
Yeah, folks can either put it in the chat or the Q&A. We did design this so that attendees were anonymous. So if you want to put it in there, you can sort of select just to send it to the panelists so we can see that. And if you were interested, you could raise your hand and ask verbally, but then folks it won't be anonymous at that level. So those are a few options in case folks have questions.
In the meantime, if folks are thinking about questions they might have, maybe I'll ask Greg if you, so Greg Potter is our director of IT department. He has been through this redistricting process twice before. And I'm wondering if you want to share a little bit about the process that you went through before.
Certainly. The process in 2000 and 2010 was different. 2010 was the first time that we had identified an independent redistricting commission. At that point in time, it was really working with the group of individuals that served on the panel or the commission to review alternatives over the course of about 3 to 4 months. Very map and paper intensive, and we would prepare scenarios based on the number of legislators that fit the best scenario based on the population changes. So the last time we reduced from 15 to 14 legislators. So also the number of legislators and the number of districts is also an option to alter in the process. So, and to make that clear, because sometimes the numbers work better in balancing them based on the geographic areas that are defined based on a change of the number of legislators. So behind the scenes in using the census data is the GIS group, which is a division under IT. So we'll have an individual or a few working in the GIS to manage and do the analysis work behind the scenes based on the input we received from the commission. How we approach preparing that information or presenting it is going to be different this time around, since there are many new applications and ways to present the information instead of traditional printing on paper and presenting it that way in person. So we are also reviewing alternatives on use of new systems or applications to do the redistricting effort in the future. So some changes.
Thanks, Greg. We've got a few other questions that have come in via chat. How long did the commission work on preparing a report following the 2010 census?
I can answer that question. It was about 4 months of time.
Okay. And is there access to the current map and the data related to that?
There is. We are currently working on presenting a public-facing website, which we would advertise and present in the future. We've got that mostly configured with the archive data from 2000 and 2010 as well for comparison. And we're working on the raw data now to run the analysis that presents the populations by the census blocks to the current legislative boundaries and the comparison of the stats between 2010 and the 2020 data.
Great, thanks. And then this question might be for legislators Champion and Sigler. How are you balancing diversity of commission members with geographic representation? Or how do you plan to do that with applicants?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think that what we'll have to do is look through all the applicants at the time, and definitely we would not want to have only city representation or only folks from Newfield, or as much as possible, we're going to try to think about, you know, people in all parts of the county, people from all backgrounds, and I guess there's not like an official process that I can say other than, you know, there'll be 5 of us on the interview panel, which are the GEO committee members, and we'll have to kind of, you know, make that balance as best as possible. I don't know, Mike, if you have other thoughts about balancing the commissioners.
Well, I mean, certainly, you know, you have the city, which takes up a large part, but I don't know if it's as important to get specific towns as it is to get just districts that are not in a city. It's not that there's a city country divide, really. It's more of a, you know, there are certain, Lansing obviously doesn't have every issue that the city has. We want to balance that against some of the city issues. So yeah, when it comes to redistricting, we're going to probably treat it the same way as we actually do the legislature. I mean, that would make some kind of sense.
Yeah, and I would just add in here too, I was thinking, so the other municipality in Tompkins County that's going to be working on redistricting is the city of Ithaca. They will have their own process, and I'm not familiar with their process, but our commission, this independent commission, will need to work with the city and whatever their process is. So there will be some close communication with the city and things going on there. So we will want a balanced representation from folks from all over the county on our independent commission.
Thanks. Do any of the other attendees have questions? Feel free to use the chat, the Q&A function, or use the raised hand function on here. We'll give it a couple of minutes for any other questions to come through.
Yeah, and I was also going to add, there is more information about the commission and some of the charge in the county charter, which you can find on the county website. And I'll go ahead and just say it's Charter 2.10, Section 2.10 and 2.11. And it does spell out some of the things that we're looking for. Some other small details are that the legislature will appoint the chair of the commission, but the commission will set up their own schedule. They'll appoint their own vice chair if they want to. So it really is once once the legislature appoints this group, it really will be an independent operating group.
All right, we'll give it a minute or two for other questions. And again, to folks, I'll share the recording of this online in case you'd like to share it with other groups or individuals who couldn't make it today.
And Greg, you said that we are setting up a website or a page on the county site. Is that up and running yet, or when will that be available?
It is up and running, and it needs some editing work, and we have to repost some of the information. And I want to have the map that compares the new population versus the 2010 population available before we release the URL for that site.
Okay, great.
But it's 90% of the way there. So it should be within the next week that site is live.
Great. And folks either here attending or watching this in the future, you can always contact me or Mike Sigler through the legislature with other questions about the commission or this process.
Great, and we got another question in. Do other towns or communities rely on the county's lines, and will this work impact any other non-Ithaca local representation?
I don't think so. You can correct me if I'm wrong, someone, but I don't think anyone else in the county does, because the town of Ithaca is the people on the board are at large, so they don't have specific districts. Is that true in your side of the county, Mike? Lansing?
It is. I mean, Groton's at large, and Dryden is at large, and so is Lansing. So yeah, I mean those are the big ones that are at large. So yeah, it shouldn't. The reason we want to kind of coordinate with the city is because obviously they are broken out by districts, and you know you'd like to at least keep that in mind when you're drawing new lines in the city. So there you have it.
Yeah, so that's the short answer. I don't think it will affect other municipalities locally.
Great. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions coming through. So I'll make sure to prepare this recording on our YouTube channel and share it out with folks as well. Thanks to everyone who tuned in today. And I'll turn it back over to you, Legislator Champion and Sigler, and in case there's any closing things you'd like to add.
Thanks so much, Dominic. And thank you, Greg, for all your work on this and going into the future. And yeah, I mean, I would just reiterate again to folks who are here or listening, please share this information with people you know, your neighbors, folks you work with. We really do want to get as big a pool of applicants as possible so we can have that diverse representation. And again, if there's other questions, certainly reach out. And I don't know, Mike, if you had any other thoughts you wanted to share?
I just want to assure people that our goal here is to make for districts that make sense. I mean, you want to look at it, and there has to be some kind of hopefully cohesive nature behind the districts that we create, and we want to do that in a fair process. And the best way to make it a fair process is to have people involved. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope people do get involved and say, no, this is what I think, or no, that's not at all what I think. I would like that to be different. So hopefully people get involved. So thanks.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So yeah, thank you all for attending, and thanks, Dominic, for making it happen.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks. Yeah, have a great day, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.